Hey guys, what's going on? This is Brain Train TV and today I'm gonna show you how to create a model image using HTML, CSS and JavaScript code. And first of all, I'm gonna show you what the application looks like, and then we hop right into the code and I show you how to create this cool thing. And after all of this, we are going to delete the JavaScript code and then we put some jQuery code in. And if you're interested, watch the video. And yeah, let's get started. So at the end of this video, we want to have a website like this. So here's a caption and there's some text, and then there is an image. And if we go over the image, it gets slightly transparent, and if we click on the image, there is a picture and a close button, and there is a caption text under the picture, which is now German, but we want, or are we going to make this some kind of English? Yeah, let's get started. So we hop right into our code, but first thing we need to do is to create a folder and create an HTML file, and you need a picture. And the important thing is these two documents have to be in the same folder, and you need the name of the picture, and we are going to see why this is in a few moments. So first we hop into our code, and first thing we do is we just type in doctype HTML. After this, we are just going to build the normal structure of an HTML file. So we put in HTML tag, and we need a head tag, and last thing we need is a body tag. So I have to delete this tag, and now we have the structure, and we are going to open it. We won't see anything yet, and we gonna change it. And the first thing we need, or we want to do, is to create these three elements. So we want a caption text, some text, and an image. So we go right back into our code, and the first tag we are going to need is an h2 tag, and we say this is our caption. And after the caption there is a piece of text, so we say this is some text. And now we want to insert an image, and how we are going to do that is simply with an image tag. So, and we're directly giving this image tag a class, a CSS class, but we need to define it. So the class name, I choose my image, or my img, and we also have to give the image tag the source of the picture. So the picture's in the same folder, so we just need to give in the source attribute the name of the picture in quotation marks. And now we also give them, or it, an alt attribute, and this will be the text under the picture. So I'm going to write this is the universe, and now we are using some CSS code, some inline CSS code to style the picture. We say width 100%, and we also say max width 500 pixels. So we don't need a semicolon here, and yeah, I save this file, and we're going to refresh our page, and now we see, okay, here is a caption, here is some text, and we now see a very huge picture. And this is because I made a mistake in my code, because we wanted a max width from 500 pixel, and what we are seeing is definitely more than 500 pixel. And here is a mistake. I made a comma instead of a semicolon after the 100%. So I save the file again, and we have to refresh our page. And now we see, okay, here is a small image, and this is exactly what we wanted to do. And the next thing we need to do is to implement some functions to get this effect when the mouse get over the picture, that it gets slightly transparent. And so we need to add some CSS code, and we are simply going to add the CSS code right in the head. So we need a style tag where we can define our CSS, and the first thing we need to do is so we need to define that, and we want the EMG. So I made here, excuse me, I made an ID and I wrote class, so we just going to change that. So we have the ID my EMG, and we go back into our code, and we see some differences. So the first thing, in the result, there are the edges are a little bit of round and not so. So this is the first thing we need to change, and we are going to change that by border minus radius, and we need to give it some pixels. So we say 5 pixels. And the next thing we're going to do is, we see when the mouse gets over the image, it's going to turn into a pointer. So we need to add some code. We say cursor pointer. And the last thing we need to do is, when we get on this image, there is a small duration where it gets transparent. It's not instantaneously transparent, so it's over a small period of time. So there is an attribute named transition, and we are going to add that, and we say 0.3 seconds. So the first thing is finished, and now we want this effects if we go with the mouse over the picture. So we say ID my IMG, and then say hover. And if we do that, we want to get the picture slightly transparent. So we say opacity, and now we give the picture a slight transparency by adding a transparency from 0.7 or maybe 0.75. It doesn't matter. And now we are going to have these effects. So we refresh our page, and now we see, okay, we are having exactly these effects. So when we click on the picture, nothing happens, nothing appears. So there are much things to do. And the next thing we want to do is to create this kind of area. So exactly that. And to do this, we need to add some HTML code. So let's get back right into our code. and we firstly create a div tag with an ID. I call the ID my model, and we also give this this div tag a class, and I call the class model or modal. And in this div tag we are going to create this thing I have shown you before. So we need a close button, and I use a span tag for the close button and give the span class the class close. And there is a code for an X, and it is, and there it is, and times semicolon, and this is going to be our close button. The next thing we need to do is to give the image or create an image tag in this div, because when we are clicking on the picture we click on appears again. So, and this element we need to implement, and we are going to do that also with an image tag, and I give it the class model minus content and an ID, and I call this ID img, and that's it. The last thing we need to add is the caption under the picture, and we do that, or I do that simply with another div tag, and I give it the ID caption, and then we need to close the div tag, so it's just a div tag and it's empty. So we created these elements, and this is going to be our whole HTML code. We are just going to add CSS and JavaScript, and we go on with our CSS code. And the first thing we need, or we going to start, is our class model, and by default we want not to display this model, because if we are going to display it, we are getting this page, and we don't want it, so we give our model class display none, so it won't show us it directly, and we want the position fixed, so it don't get in another position than it should be. And we say, okay, we want to have a padding from the top, and it should be 100 pixels, and from left should be 0, and from top should be 0. So left should be 0, top should be 0, and the width here should be 100%, and the height should be also 100%, so we want to see the full image. And if the image is very, very huge or big, we want to enable scroll, so we need to set the overflow attribute to auto. What we also need to do, or what we also want to do, is we can see this, the area which surrounds the picture is slightly transparent, so we want to create this this area like a shadow, and we are going to get it if we simply set the background color in this class to RGB and say 0, 0, 0, give it, and now we say background minus color again, and now we say RGBR and say 0, 0, 0, 0.9 or 9.5. You have to play with it. I think it doesn't really matter. So we set it to 8.5. And this should be our model class. And we also have the class model minus content. And we need to define that as well. And now we're saying margin outer. And we say display block. So the picture should be showed in the middle or in the center of the of your device. So we need this attribute, and we say width 100%, and we also say max width should be 700 or 800 pixel, and we can not see it if we refresh our page now, because nothing happens when we click on the picture. So the next thing we are going to do is to add some JavaScript code, and the JavaScript code is only to see what we have done yet. So we hop back into our code, we are going into our body and add a script tag, because we want to use JavaScript now. And the first thing I am going to do is to create some variables. So the first variable I create is called model. You can call it whatever you want. And I want the element from here with the ID my model, and I get it in JavaScript with get element by ID, and then we say my model. So the next variable we need to do get is a variable called img, and we also get it with document.get element by ID, and it's my img, and I think that's at the moment the two variables we need to add some JavaScript code, so something happens if we click on the picture, and we need to add a click function. So we say img dot on click equals function, then we need these brackets, and now so this is the variable we initialized here, and we are using the other variable right in this function. So we say model dot style dot display equals block in quotation marks. So it's very important you always make these quotation marks, because if you are not, your code won't work. So what this does is, in our class we hide our element, we say display none, and And now we are going to say, okay, if you click on this picture, you should show the model class with the display block, so it gets shown up in the center. But we need to we need another variable, I see, and we call that Modal Image. And we are getting this also by document dot get element by ID, and it's simply our img, so this ID here, and we have to finish it with a semicolon. And now we are going to say model img dot source equals this dot source. So we say you should display the picture, and we say, or we change the source of the model image ID, which we created here, to this, and this means literally this, so we are getting the source from the element we clicked on. So we are going to test it now. I refresh the page, and now I click on the picture, and we are going to see, okay, we have the picture right in the middle, and there is a slightly shadow, but the close button, or we don't see the close button yet, and the caption text is also missing. So I refresh the page again, and yeah, now the first thing we want to add is the caption code, and I create another variable for the caption, and I name it caption text, and I say again document dot get element by ID, and say caption. And we need, in this click function we created, we also want to set the caption text. So we say caption text dot inner HTML, and we say the inner HTML should be this dot alt. So the alt, we are giving the caption text the alt attribute we have initialized here. So the caption text should be this is the universe, and we are going to test it now. So I refresh the page, we are clicking on the picture, and we see, okay, here is the text, and I refresh again, and the text is not shown, and this is simply because we don't have styled our caption text yet. So we are going to our CSS, and we need to style a few more things on, and the first thing we need to style, or we are going to style now, is the caption code, or the caption text. So it's an ID, so we use the hashtag here, and the first thing we say is margin auto, and then also display block, so it gets shown in the middle under the picture, and we set the width to 80%, and we say the max width to 700 pixels. And now we want the text align in the center. So we say text line center. It's very easy. And now the color was black, and our background is almost black, so we set it the font color to white, and give it a little bit of padding. So we say 10 pixel 0, And the last thing we do is give a little bit of height from 150 pixels. And yeah, we are going to save it, and I refresh the page, and we are going to show or look what happens with our caption. So I clicked on the image, and now we see, okay, our caption is now in the exactly right spot where it should be, and the only thing that now is missing is the close button. And we also need to style the close button, and then we need to add a function, and then we are almost finished. So the next thing we are going to do now is to style the close button. So the close button is a class, as you can see here. We said class close, and we are creating a class. So we use a dot at the beginning and say close. And the first thing we need to do is to set the position to absolute. So the close button should be in the right place, and we give it the color white so we can see it better, and we give it a font size from 45 or say 50 pixels, and we want to make it bold, so we'll say font weight bold. And now we need to, I can show you how it looks now. So I refresh the page, and we see, okay, the close button is right here, and we want it to be in the right corner and at the edge of the top. So we need to add a few attributes to get it there. And the first thing is we want it 10 pixels away from the top, and also we want to have it right 40 or 35 pixels away from the right, and now it should be in the right place. So I refresh the page, and we are looking, and we see, okay, from the top it's now 10 pixels away, and from the right 35, and this is a very good location, but we can't click it, and if we hover, if our mouse gets over there, there is just this little thing, and we want to have a pointer and some more effects. So we need to get back or go back in our CSS code, and now we say here dot close, and then hover. We have seen it before, and then we say if the mouse gets over, so this is what the hover function does. If your mouse gets over the element, over the close element, it should the color should become gray. So we say color gray. The next thing what should happen is your mouse should be a pointer. So we say cursor pointer. And we say, or we also say text decoration none. So I save it. We go to our page. We refresh the page. I click on the image, and as you can see, if we go with the mouse over the X or the close button, your mouse gets to a pointer and the color changes, and that is exactly what we wanted. So there are just few things to do now. We want to give the close button a function, and I refresh the result page. As you can see, there is a small animation. So we want to add the animation and give the close button function. And the first thing we are going to do now is we are getting the close button a function, and this is very easy because I create a variable named exit, and now I want the element what defines our close button, and I say document dot get elements by class name. So the thing is, the JavaScript method says elements, so there are maybe more elements, and our class is close. And now we need to so JavaScript thinks it's an array, so we need to get the close button an index. So it's just one element, and arrays start at 0, so we have to put a 0 after the statement into brackets, and then we can go on with a semicolon. So now we want a function on this exit button, so we say exit on click. So we also have seen it before by this function, and it's almost the same. Now we say function, and now there's only one thing to do, and we want the model, and then we say style, and then we say display, and then we say none. So we just set back the display attribute from the model. So we save this, I refresh the page, we click on the image, now we click on the close button, and as you can see, nothing happens. So we need to get back into our code and figure out why. So we are back in our code, and we need to delete this two small brackets here. So we are going to delete it, and now it should work. So we go back to our page, refresh it, click on the image. Now we are clicking on the close button, and we see it works. So the last thing we want to do is the small animation. So the picture gets zoomed in, and the caption under the picture as well. So it's just a small animation, and yeah, we are going to add it right now. And so we go back into our code, and this is some CSS animation. So we are just adding animation right here. So I say animation. It's just a comment, so you don't need it. Animation. And we are going to add the animation at the class model minus content, and add the ID caption. So I also explained what our class model content is. So we have it right here. It's our image class, and our caption is simply the caption under the picture. So we need an animation, so we say animation minus name, and this animation which is used there, it's called zoom. So we simply say zoom, and then we need to give this animation a duration. So we need some time, some seconds, and we say 0.6 seconds. You can make longer or shorter, just as you want. So if we just add this code snippet, it won't work, because we need to set some keyframes. And how we does it is we say add keyframes, and now we say the animation name, and it's zoom. So now we need to set these keyframes. So we say from, and this is where the animation should start. So we say So we say transform scale 0, like this. And the exactly same thing we say, so from to, and we also need to transform, and then we say scale, and we want a small animation, so we say scale 1. And now we should be finished, so we are going to refresh our page, and now we are clicking on the image, and now we see this super cool animation. And yeah, that's it. We made a whole model image with HTML, CSS and JavaScript. And if you want to know how to do this, so this animation style, this JavaScript, the JavaScript code, like this all with jQuery, then you should watch this video till the end, because we are going to delete this code and adding some jQuery code, and yeah, we are going to do it right now. The first thing we need to do is to add some jQuery. So we say I need a link to add jQuery to this project. So Google link jQuery, and there is the library, and I need to copy this snippet, this code snippet, and we need to add it into our HTML file right in the head. So now we can use jQuery, and so I'm not going to delete it because it helps me, so I'm just comment it out. And yeah, we are just using jQuery now for this whole code. So we start with the $sign, and we want a function on the ID my image. And with jQuery we say $sign getting the ID, and simply say click function. And now we can implement the function, and it's very simple. So we only use the $sign, and after that we need to get the elements into this format. So my model.css, it's a little bit different. So here we said model.style.displayBlock, and here we say we don't need variables because we can speak to our elements this simple. And now we want to change the CSS code, so we say .css, and now we say the attribute we want to change, and it's display. I'm a little bit further, sorry. And now we say okay, block, and this is what we did right here. And now we can do it for all the elements. And the next is my image, or my img, and here we want to change an attribute, so we call attr, and we want to change the source attribute, and we want it to be this.src. And the last thing we want to do is to add the caption. So we say caption.html, and now this .out. And this is the whole function in jQuery for the click function. So I'm going to refresh it, and we show and we look if it works. and we see, okay, we have an animation, there is the caption, but the picture is missing, and yeah, we don't have the close button function yet. So we hop right back into our code, and now we are going to to find our mistake. So our mistake is simply that we speak to the ID my image, but the ID that we need to speak to is image. So we only need to change that. Now I save the document, we refresh the page, and there is a picture. So now there is something very cool, and it's a close function because it's so fucking simple. You need just one line of code. So we say dot close because it's a class, then we say click, and then we say function, so like in the function before. And then the only line we need to do to write is $. Now we need to speak to my model, and there's a jQuery function to hide elements, and it's simply hide. So this is the code we wrote here in jQuery. It's very short, very simple, and it's just nice. So we are going to test it. So I refresh the page again, I click on the image, and the animation, the text, the caption is here, and we click on the X button, and all the code we wrote works. So I hope you enjoyed it. If you want to learn more, or if you want to see more videos like this, then leave a comment below, give this video a thumbs up, and make sure to subscribe my channel. And yeah, I don't make usually English videos, this is my first one, so if you want to see more, give me some feedback. So I see you guys, and yeah,